This week is all about those fruits and vegetables that your doctor keeps telling you that you need to eat more of. But have you ever wondered what is the best way to keep them fresher for longer? Well, worry not, because today we'll be showing you exactly how to do that and make sure that you get the best out of your fresh produce. Chef Chart, as I do sanitize, because we really want to get involved in have a full immersive experience, true sensory experience here in the kitchen. So let's make sure that we are safe, sanitized. Chef, how important is it to have fresh produce and make the most out of your fresh produce?
Well, I think it's so important because you want produce in its sort of, its entirety, in its purest form, because that's when you're going to maximize the flavor, the goodness, and you start talking nutrients. I mean, when you start looking at the berries here, all those nutrients and what they do for you, it's so important. So you want to keep things fresh. So when you actually come to eat it, not nutritionally is it just good for you, so is the actual structure of it as well. It's not going to sort of decompose and become, smushy and mushy and all horrible. So all those things are really important at the end of the day. And let's face it, we eat with our eyes. So when you start glancing across at the kitchen counter here, and it's just all these sort of vibrant colors, that vibrancy, even if it's a carrot that hasn't been peeled yet, it still looks vibrant. You can have a look at it. And that, to me, is what's so important. So I'm going to delve straight into it. It's always look, we eat with our eyes. I mean, beautiful, bright, ruby red strawberries, and it's one smell, that tells you so much. Is it going to be delicious? And straight away, absolutely. How are those mushrooms smelling there to me?
Well, they smell very earthy because they're obviously in that beautiful ground and so forth. And the best way to keep them fresh, because you buy them in store, you don't know how long they've already been in store. So how do you make sure that you keep them even fresher? The best way, a lot of people don't know that moisture and sunlight are by far some of the worst things you can do to your veggies. You don't want them too moist. The more moisture you get, the more molding risk you have. Mushrooms require a nice dry, space. They want air circulation. So you need to make sure the best way, I would say a brown paper bag that you normally use after you done your shopping. Don't dispose of it. Put them in there. Just ensure that you leave the top open so that the air can circulate in there. These are by far one of the few that do not want moisture. But when we go to, let's say, carrots, for instance, those are very important. Once you've purchased them, give them a beautiful big wash. After you've rinsed them, pat them down with paper towel and then wrap them in a kitchen towel, put them in the fridge. The one thing you want to make sure of is you don't mix your fruits and veggies, though.
Hold up, girl, because now you are challenging my entire existence. I mean, growing up, we always had that one drawer at the bottom of the fridge where we just put all of our fruits and our vegetables all mixed up there. So you're saying, I'm doing it all wrong.
Exactly. There is one gas that is released by fruit called ethylene that actually causes vegetables to rot faster.
Wow.
You don't want that. So if anything, you can put them, there's a crisper drawer, there's a vegetable drawer. Go do some research and see how exactly your fridge is structured and try and make sure that your fruits and veggies are always stored separately. Make sure to wash. Also do some research. We will have all of this information on the website as well, should you want to get more info. But stuff like your broccolis and your cauliflowers, they do well with not airtight containers. The mushrooms and these, do not put them in airtight containers. They want that air to circulate. And that's very important.
It's as much as being cut off and it's not really living, it's still living, so it needs to breathe. It's so important. So, when you go onto here, like for grapes, don't actually wash them straight away. Grapes, store them, make sure there's, pick through them and check that there's no, bad grapes. Well, there's a classic example of that. They're starting to get a little bit soft and are starting to, degenerate. So that you want to remove and then just store those in the fridge. These actually at the bottom of the fridge work really well. I find I personally keep my fruit at the top and all my veg at the bottom, exactly because of that. Your strawberries, again, keep them dry. Your berries, in fact, berries are what we term as a high perishable. So they disintegrate very quickly. So if you want a little bit of longevity, you can do a vinegar bath. So 3 parts of water to 1 part vinegar, plunge all your berries into there, then strain it off, pat them dry and store them. And basically that vinegar is like a bit of a coating to protect them. A shield of armour, absolutely. Then we start going on to things like avocados, tomatoes, and your stone fruit, plums, nectarines, peaches and stuff. What you want to do is you make sure they're ripe. So if they're not ripe, leave them on the counter. No direct sunlight. Light is sort of very degenerative of the whole sort of process with fruits, so be very careful of that. Once they're ripe, then pop them into the fridge and and store them. Same with things like with lettuces, cabbages, keep them nice and whole. Don't cut them. The moment you create the surface area, then it's going to start to deteriorate very quickly.
We do see that browning that normally happens sometimes.
Now, one of my little tricks I always do is take a little bit of kitchen towel, a little bit of water, and just literally just make it damp. enough, yeah? And that onto a cut surface. Or if you think of, spinach that's been pre-cut for you, I mean, that you can always leave, a hole in a little bit of water. Same for herbs. Keep your herbs always damp. They last so much longer, covered like that, neatly in the fridge, and everything will last that much longer, and you can enjoy them. They're lovely and fresh.
Definitely. I mean, the proof is definitely in the pudding. I've also just been munching away on the fresh produce on today's show. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're going to be incorporating the best way to keep our fruit and veggies fresh as ever, but in each recipe. And if perhaps you've missed out on any of the information we've just shared, then head over to www.afternoonexpress.co.za for more tips on how to keep your fruits and veggies fresher for longer.